up and say
The one across
the
the street.
Q,
It's here.
Oh, okay.
so the
Yeah.
Q
We'll
now,
talk about it
that's,
today.
it's a much better layout.
Yeah, that could go on. There's a couple of Zoe. We all read, please rise and salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Before we get started, you may have noticed that our lineup has changed somewhat. Fortunately, didn't get a chance to thank Mike Schermeyer for his years of service and dedication to the job.
But he did get a gold Rolex.
Sure.
Not from the village.
From you, probably.
Not from the village, no.
An attaché case on Main Street in Riverhead. So, on behalf of the board, I'd like to, which is here, I would like to express my appreciation to Mike for all his time they spent. That being said, we also have a new addition, Don Steiner. Welcome him to the board.
Thank you.
And, we will do all we can to make your, learning curve as pleasant as possible, although I'm not sure it's possible.
Look at the suspects in the audience to see how that's gonna go.
That's true, too. All right, so we're going to start with, we're going a little out of turn. We have a decision on Sunset West, but we're gonna have to open the public hearing on Sunset West first, as I understand it.
Sorry.
And then we're gonna have to say we like the plan. Vote to approve the plan after we close the public hearing. Do I got that right?
Me?
Well, somebody answer the chairman.
Go for it.
Step
Step by step. I thought you were just making a speech there. Go for it.
All right.
We're gonna
Reopen or open or whatever, continue the public, hearing on Sunset West LLC, 87 Sunset Avenue. Mr. Hume, do you have anything you want to share with us?
I don't. I've shared with the plan that I believe, all have looked at, and it says what they wanted it to say.
And I'll be happy.
That's it.
I think the plan was reviewed and it was, accepted favorably, and I believe we have a determination. So I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have a decision.
We have decision, for Sunset West LLC.
Dispense with the reading, Mr. Hume.
I will. Thank you.
I make a motion, we accept the decision as written.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're gonna go a little out of turn. Mr. Vero, you wanna give us an update on
Yes, I do.
161 Montauk Highway?
Mind if I just stood right here or just stood up here? So
You can talk loudly enough that everybody can
We've
hear.
missed your presence.
terrible back. So looks
Alright.
like we're gonna be moving forward with our demolition of the buildings on the corner restaurant property.
Moving forward in what time frame?
Well, I'm waiting for two things. I'm waiting for my asbestos investigator to go there. I'm waiting for my client to give me the okay with that. And I'm just waiting for her counsel to say everything is good with what we're proposing to do, knock everything down. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I will have the application into, if not sooner, to the building department. Okay?
So
I
is
just
there a
wanted to be-
sale of the property pending?
There's a few things that are out there that I'm in the dark about, so all I can tell you is that there are people who are interested, and I know they've been negotiating. I'm not part of that. I'm not a realtor, I'm not an attorney.
We just want to see some activity.
I would like
so
to
we
see the
can
property
demonstrate-
cleaned up, okay? And I had promised the mayor before she left that hopefully we were gonna clean that corner up before she left, but, so hopefully when she
You
comes.
know, you got a Ralph as a mayor now.
I know. I know.
So to paraphrase from this Seinfeld episode, the wheels are in motion?
The wheels are in motion. So that'll finalize that, and hopefully we'll have a new owner, and then we'll move forward with everything else, so.
Well, just if we can get the site cleaned up so it doesn't become a,
Yeah, I still owe Mr. Engineer, some revised lighting plans and a couple other little tweaks that he asked us for, but, and we'll get those there, okay?
So,
Just wanted to bring you up to date. You guys haven't seen me, so.
so you've,
nice to see you.
you've staved off execution, you will remain on the agenda.
Now, at least until the movie theater opens, how's that? Then I can go hide in the movie theater. Yeah.
If that's your pleasure, knock yourself out. All right.
Thank you for
We
coming.
look, yes, we look
Grateful.
forward to,
Yeah, I'll keep, Megan posted and obviously Brad too, okay?
Grateful for your appearance tonight. Thank you.
and again, we're gonna go a little out of, order here. You got Beechwood, West Hampton LLC on the work session agenda is number 2. We received a letter from their council asking that, they be permitted to withdraw the application. Make a
I
motion
make a
to accept the
motion.
letter.
Accept the withdrawal of the application per applicant's request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This application will be removed from the agenda with, West Hampton Property Management LLC on the public hearing agenda. Mr. Hafley, or he's the in.
West Hampton Inn?
West Hampton Property, 141 Montauk.
Cinderella.
Cinderella. Oh, that's Bennett. Right? John?
What do you see?
We'll hold him over. Dick, West Hampton Inn LLC.
No, we have to, we have to make a contract.
It's, it belongs up there.
Oh, okay. I had 6 additional parking spaces, and I've advised my client of that. I went through the, I'm not sure what else is necessary other than the parking spaces. We submitted a revised site plan, a revised, site plan, lighting plan, and, the other plan.
All right, Britton. And
It's more around
the gang of 3, why don't you tell him what we need?
What do you intend to do with the parking spaces? Add more parking spaces?
Excuse me?
What do you intend to do with the parking spaces? Are you gonna add more parking spaces?
Yeah,
Well, then, you're gonna have to have,
we have to add more, my understanding, and speaking with the surveyor, we have to add 6 additional spaces, which will be on the east side behind the current spaces, further back so that we can put them in.
So, the site, when they do that, you'll have to have new drainage, you'll have to,
Whatever is needed.
yeah, and they'll have to up to date the lighting plan also.
The lighting plan and the landscaping plan would have to be updated to show the location of the, I understand that, yes.
That's, everything just, we were fine with the layout before.
No, we weren't.
Well,
Maybe you were.
I meant as far as the site plan goes. But parking spaces, so we just have to make the site plan adjustments. And wasn't there an issue where the
lighting, on the lighting plan, you have the mountain at 16 feet, but it's 12 feet per code.
What?
the lighting plan, the fixtures have to be mounted no higher than 12 feet?
On the pole lighting and then the park.
The poles can't be more than 12 feet.
Okay,
And the design was based on a 16-foot pole.
okay.
So the whole layout's gotta be changed.
And the landscaping as well.
The landscaping problem was you show, I think, a double row of evergreens along the south property line. You also show some trees that aren't there, so only show what's there.
Yeah, there's really no evergreens left there, it's just a few deciduous trees and a fence. That's residential to that side, so
Yeah, we're showing the double on the,
showing as existing, but it doesn't exist. If you drive by today, there's nothing there. So just show it that it's gonna be proposed that you meet the minimum buffer.
but the proposed is okay. There's no,
Yeah, but it's not shown as being put in, it's showing as being.
Yeah, it
existing.
shows as existing, as if you're
On the
not putting
plan.
it in, you have it already. That's what the plan shows.
That's it.
It sounds like you just gotta tighten it up a little bit and then we'll leave it.
Now, we're still not talking about cross-access on this, is that correct?
Why don't we just get a plan and everything consistent and then we can.
No,
No, this is not
Oh, I'm sorry.
Montauk, this is the inn.
it's
It's the hotel.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm
Not
sorry.
Cinderella.
I got it confused.
We don't need cross-access to a residential property, nor.
I understand. I had it wrong in my mind. Thank you.
I think our recently deceased council would have a problem with that.
Yeah. You know, if Chase is
Make an interesting record.
You know, if Chase says it, it must be true.
That's true.
I'm just curious, are you applying to the health department?
we're planning to connect to the sewer system.
Are you applying to that agency? Are you applying to that agency, the county DPW, the sewer agency?
We're in the sewer district.
Yes.
When we get the approval, we would have to do whatever is required. That's right, you know, so it is an issue with reference to the front, everything in the district. Yes, we have to get it, you know, whatever has to be done. Yeah.
Well, as soon as you get it in, we get you back on the agenda for a productive
I would
conversation.
get it.
That would be appreciated.
So really, the point of this was you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Clarifying what he needs to do.
Thank you, Mr. Hafley. Good to see you.
Mr. Hafley.
The easiest case.
It's just been lingering and been through various.
I noticed there's some
inclinations,
activity
which
though,
make
and
it
they're doing a
problematic.
little bit of cleaning up, so we're grateful for that.
No, you don't have anything to discuss. I see I'm getting better at this. We do have minutes for February 8th, or do we not?
Beaver Lake. Beaver Lake,
Yeah, we're gonna do Beaver Lake, right?
Beaver Creek.
I thought we did that.
Beaver whatever.
You were like, oh, 36 Sunset, never mind. Mr. Hafley, isn't this yours?
Is that what it is?
Beaver Lake Development?
Okay.
No, that's.
Yeah.
The last meeting we had, I indicated to the board that we're not giving a cross-access agreement because we don't have to give it. And that's where we're at.
And you asked me to look at it, and I'm prepared to, give you my opinion as to what's going on here. So, first things first, I don't think this is cross-access, and I don't want this board or the consultants to keep using the term cross-access for this purpose, because cross-access deals with what we would call reciprocal access
Property,
between
property.
private property owners.
Right.
So two adjacent private property owners being asked to give each other an easement across their property.
So what's the
Why I
correct
think
term?
this went sideways is by referring to the back access to the village property as cross access. We will not be asking the applicant to give the village an easement over their property. To me, it's just a question of the planners and the engineers determining where the access points should be. Okay, so we often have commercial properties that are required to have two access points to two different roads. You have, you know, the patio 3 having access on Montauk and having access on Depot, but not having access on Old Riverhead Road. You have Valero having access on Old Riverhead Road and Montauk. This is like what we did for Best Yet, which is now Lidl, where when they came in for their site plan, we told them you need an extra access point to the Glover's parking lot in the back to allow your patrons to go in and out that way. There was no easement exchanged. Let me finish, all right? There was no easement exchanged between anybody. There was no expectation of that. That's what I see it as. I don't call it cross-access. It's just an extra access
Easement.
point. If the applicants want to say we're not giving it, that's their choice, but if this board deems it appropriate to have two access points, they can take their fight to the Supreme Court,
Okay.
okay? So that's where we are.
There's no basis, let me finish. There's no basis for a double access. This piece of property has been in existence as it is prior to the effective date of zoning. Before the village had a parking area back there. We had access to Sunset Avenue. We're proposing to put access to Sunset, a single access for whatever number of lots we end up having right there. There won't be more than one access to Sunset Avenue. But you're asking me to put an access into the rear, which in fact opens it up for the people from the parking lot in the rear to come onto our property.
It doesn't.
It
doesn't. Go ahead.
Our property to liability to anybody that comes.
It doesn't, because it's no different from the access on any other road. You have access on Sunset, You'll be able to put up your signs at the Sunset Access saying this is not a public parking lot. It's no different than that. You can dispute it. It's no problem. You have your rights. You know what those rights are and how to do it. But the engineer and the planner have deemed it appropriate to require 2 access points for this property. If you want to get a final decision on that, we'll give you a final decision on it. You can take it to
Because
Supreme
It was
Court.
a final decision at some point. You've got to explain why I need an access to the rear of my property when there is no street to the rear of the property.
There is through access to another street there. It's the same thing that we did for Best Yet, exactly the same thing.
There is no street at all.
It gets you over, it does get you over to Glover's. It gets you to Glover's.
That's it.
Yes, it
We have
does.
to go over.
I don't think there's any sense to arguing.
Here's how we're gonna do this. I think the only way to do it is you needed a determination from us to do something, right?
It's not gonna be any determination. I have to speak to my clients. I'm expressing my opinion, my legal opinion on this. That we don't have to give a rear access so that the people that have in the parking lot, the village parking lot, can access onto our property.
But we're not saying that. I'm just make that clear to your client. We're not saying that the people on the village parking lot have to have access onto your property. That's not what we're saying. We're saying you have to have a second access point. You want to put up signs in the back saying, this is not through traffic. This is not public parking. This is not whatever. You can do all that. But we're not asking you to allow public vehicles to come onto your property unless they're invitees.
Brad, you got something to say?
My
Question.
I was just gonna say, part of the board and the engineer finding that necessary is, I think Mr. Haefely just said how many lots this ends up being. So if there's like a subdivision planned or other development plan, that, we don't wanna segment that out, right? We wanna see, like, what is the plan for the rest of the land?
It's another issue. That is another issue, which we can talk about. But we get worried when you're talking about segmenting plans. You say there's a future subdivision at issue. It has to be at least discussed so that whatever you're planning now doesn't prevent the orderly use of the rest of the property. Unless you're gonna turn that into a park, we have to at least contemplate that the rest of the property is gonna need its access points as well. So,
That, the access point to Sunset Avenue is not an issue. There would be one entrance into this property.
that's not the question.
Let me finish. There'll be one entrance into the property, one access point to and from Sunset Avenue, which is the same as the patio across the street. There's only one access for all of those buildings. There are signs up there that say no parking, can't do that, can't do that, can't do the other thing. And consistently, people come onto that property, into the patio property and use it to park.
That's an
So the patio
that's an
let me finish, let me
no,
finish.
that's an enforcement issue. That's not a planning issue.
It is. No, it is, it's more than that. It's a planning issue. You're now having a private party providing public parking.
No,
No,
Tony's
true.
saying that
it's not true.
how it may work how it may work in practice, I grant you may be different, but the fact of the matter is you can put up whatever, do whatever your client needs to do to ensure that the parking on there is exclusive to that building. You can tow cars away.
That's right. That's what they do everywhere.
Enforcement issue.
Tow at your own risk.
Park at your own risk. You get either towed, whatever.
I know that we have it parked at your own risk. If you look at the parking lot of the patio building, you'll see all of those signs. It doesn't stop anybody from using it.
And it doesn't stop the owner of the
Got nothing to
property
do with us.
from enforcing the parking and just towing those cars away that don't belong.
Got
there.
nothing to do with us.
It has-
Doesn't belong in this conversation.
You're asking for a rear access that directly goes onto your village parking. What you're saying is you're using a rear access as a basis for people that are parked in the village parking lot to cross over.
No, that's not true. It is not true. That is false. That is absolutely false. It's false.
They're gonna try.
Guys, all right, we're not getting anywhere on this.
Enough.
It's a work session. So you have to go back into your client now and tell them it's sent to the board that we would prefer 2 access
Or you
points.
cannot tell them. That's your prerogative. What you have to do is get a plan in front of us and then we can walk forward.
Of what? The entire piece?
Yeah.
What we're doing is asking for
but that's another problem,
Right,
because
but-
the other problem is that the part that you're not developing right now, what we do with the part you are must contemplate what could happen with that adjacent unused parcel.
We did that because we put the piece of property they were proposing to build on to the northerly side of the
I
property.
know that, but what's gonna happen with the southerly portion of the parcel? We have to make sure that what you're proposing for the northerly part works with what might happen with the southerly part.
That, and you're gonna have to explain that to me. What, if I have a single access for all of the property, the entire property?
I'm also talking about I'm talking about interior circulation of
Yeah,
traffic.
it's segmentation. That's the question, right? You don't understand what segmentation is, right? Taking a project and splitting it so that the effects of one part aren't considered all at the same time. The idea is to at least understand what is contemplated for the rest of the property so that it can be planned accordingly. Let's say hypothetical, right? Let's say the planners say, if you're gonna develop the other side, we don't want the access point all the way over here, we want it in the middle between the two parking lots. I have no idea. But the whole point is to understand what you're proposing or contemplating for the other side so that it can be planned accordingly. Both sides of the property can be planned accordingly. You understand that?
No, I understand what you're saying.
That's all. It's not that you have to do it. It's not that you're gonna be required to pull permits or go through a full site plan on the other side. You at least have to explain what's contemplated over there so that it can be planned for long-term.
We don't have a use, and that building is so close to the road, there's no space for your sanitary system, like there's other things that maybe don't quite work with this plan. That we would have, that would all factor into the access.
Actually, I think we said we made almost a conceptual site plan. I don't know how else you would call it. for
It's
the entire
something
property,
basic. It just needs to be a concept plan.
For the entire parcel, not just one piece of it. That seems to be part of the problem.
We'll put it over for months.
We don't have to put it over.
You just tell them when you want,
You're on a
you
work
tell
session.
Megan when you wanna come back. and
Excuse me?
Just tell Megan when you wanna come back and we'll put you on for a discussion.
That's fine. Very good.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Hafley. Good to see you.
All right, minutes for February 8th.
I make a motion, we accept them as written.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll see you on March 28th. Motion close.
Make a motion?
Second. Favor?
Second, yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah, let's.
Cinderella was just